Oh, baby, welcome in. It's an East Coast Bias Monday edition right here on the Ringer Gambling Show. The boys ready to recap the aftermath of Week 6. We have a double dip in Monday Night Football. You have a couple of games in baseball as far as the ALCS is concerned. Loaded sports day across the board. Happy to be joined alongside Joe House at the Simmons compound. Raheem Palmer in Las Vegas. Jastremski here in New York City. And it was a profitable, wise wager for Joe House, Raheem Palmer, and John Jastremski. We certainly like the sound of that. Yes, we will get to Sunday Night Football with the Chiefs and the Detroit Lions momentarily.
This is the Ringer Gambling Show presented by FanDuel. And if you're betting on the NFL, FanDuel's the place to do it. You've got everything. Same game parlays, quick bets for when you jump in live, and your ways you can set your own lines. The app's fast. It's easy to use. And best of all, when you win, you get paid out instantly. Download the FanDuel app or go to FanDuel.com/gamblers to get started. Yes, you must be 21 or older and present in select states and 18 or older in D.C., Kentucky, and Wyoming. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut.
Late afternoon window. Two big takeaways from the Buck-Niner game. One, Tampa Bay continues to amaze. Baker Mayfield continues to amaze. That MVP market that we talked about a week or two ago as far as Baker Mayfield is concerned, you're seeing that line plummet, and plummet some more because to me, for the first 7 weeks of the year, it's not close. Baker Mayfield's been the NFL MVP. On the flip side, it's yet another devastating injury for the San Francisco 49ers. Fred Warner now out for the year. If there's a takeaway for you after Bucks-Niners, the Baker MVP tour, the Niner injury mass unit. You can take it any which way you want. How are you taking it?
Yeah, to me, what that game revealed was how close those two teams kind of are. And, coming into the season, some forecasts, I think, had those two teams in the upper echelon of the NFC, with the Niners, threatening because of their schedule, strength of schedule wise. They were forecasted with the easiest schedule, and the Bucks as kind of the outright prohibitive favorite to win the NFC South. So it was a kind of referendum game, but we saw yesterday really the full true version of both teams according to a script that has been kind of building here over years. Once again, the Niners in this mash unit kind of situation, and the Niners really playing very good, sound football, but at some point they reach the outer limit of how effective they can be with the injuries. And once again, we see this Tampa team also with injuries. Like, let's not, paint a picture here where we're saying Tampa, walked in perfect health and had that advantage, but Baker's on another level. And, all of the talk about the MVP is proper talk. And look, man, he just makes the football plays when they need to be made. And the Niners, to their credit, were in this game all the way up until, they even were competitive post the Warner injury. But, we get to the outer limit of what Mac Jones can do on the road in a situation like that. And, all we do is tip our hat to Tampa for continuing to kick ass.
So my takeaways come in the form of bets because, look, you look at FanDuel Sportsbook right now. The San Francisco 49ers are plus 135 to win the division. They're the favorite. They're not going to win this division. Like, it's unfortunate because they just have so many injuries, but at some point in time, you reach the point where you can't overcome it. And I like, you saw the difference in that defense with and without Fred Warner yesterday. I think the Seattle Seahawks are the best team in that division.
Ooh, okay, that's a take, Raheem. I like it.
I really do. And they're plus 290. So I think if you don't have Seattle to win that division, I think you need to grab it. Now, there's going to be some people who say Sam Darnold has a chance to win the MVP. He's 40-1 right now. I'm not necessarily on board with that, but the way the Seattle Seahawks are playing, you can kind of make a case that number is a little off.
I think that's fair. Listen, I had Seattle as my wise wager. We talked about it a week ago. I know, House, you were hitting darts on the golf course, which I love, and that makes me happy. But I was all over the Seattle line. Actually, it was Actually, I mentioned it on Monday. I was thinking it was Tuesday. I said before the Jacksonville game, I said, you're going to get Jacksonville in a bad spot after playing on a Monday night. And Darnold is playing some unbelievable football. Now, I'd counter Raheem, even with the Nakua injury. I think the Rams are best positioned to go and win this division. But it just goes to show you, House, we're out on the Niners, and it's not because of the record. We know the schedule is soft. How many of these injuries can you expect to maintain playing at a high level, beating out two high-quality, high-caliber teams within the division? It's just not sustainable. Sooner or later, it's going to catch up with you.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think Dream is right in terms of Seattle is offering the most value in that division. Arizona, I think is basically a repeat of last year. That's an 8-9 team at best in my estimation. And I think that Seattle defense, the conversation that the cousin Sal had with Ross Tucker last week on the Friday program around which defense is really showing you something. What's the best defense in the NFL? You got to put Seattle in that conversation because they continue to get pressure. And on the back end, even with the injuries to Reek Wolin and I can't remember who else was out, they had secondary issues. That's why I was a little nervous about, jumping on Seattle, especially with that crazy 1.5 point line that flipped over. I hate that situation betting wise. But the Seattle defense was the story of that game, and that should be sustainable as long as they don't have injuries. So plus 290 for Seattle for that division is a must-bet auto bet as far as I personally am concerned.
Here's a stat from ESPN Research. Jaguars quarterback Trevor Lawrence was pressured on 27 out of his 50 dropbacks, 54%. The most pressures a quarterback has faced in a game since 2022 when the Titans pressured Patrick Mahomes 28 times in week 9. So, Trevor Lawrence was kind of running for his life yesterday, and it just felt like they can never get anything going with that offense. Now, I still want to talk about this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. Like to me, I'm still not a believer. I
really, Raheem?
No.
Really? Why? Just because of the amount of close games they're playing?
When you dig inside the hood, one of the things that's most predictive is point differential. And we know their point differential, but also early down success rate. They're 19th in early down success rate, 44.9%. So, you're on the level of, when you're talking about 44.9%, you're on the level of this Ravens team without Lamar Jackson. You're on the level of the Jaguars. You're on the level of the Giants. You're on the level of the Houston Texans. That's where they are in early down success rate. And in success rate, in general, they are in the middle of the pack. And their schedule is going to start to toughen up.
Including this Monday night against the Lions.
You got the Lions. Then you're on the road at the Lions. You're on the road at the Saints. You come home to play the Patriots, who, if you ask me, they're starting to become a juggernaut. Then you're on the road at the Bills, on the road at the Rams, got the Cardinals, the Saints again. You got a game against the Falcons. You got 2 games against the Panthers and the Dolphins. And I actually look at this Panthers team, and I think they can challenge for the division. And people are going to call me crazy.
I do think you're crazy for that. I do. Absolutely think you're crazy.
Because
I love you, but I think you're crazy.
I think when I'm looking at all of these teams in this division, everybody can compete for it except for the Saints, because I think they're too far back. But I'm looking at the Panthers at 18-1, and I'm willing to play a lottery ticket.
You're going to take a shot on it. Here's my pushback. Tampa's not healthy right now. They're going to get bodies back. No, not having a Buka for the next couple weeks, Raheem, is going to be incredibly problematic. That guy is the real deal. House, he's been making plays every single week. He's been Baker Mayfield's deep threat option, especially with Mike Evans not being there. But, yeah, I think Tampa might lose a couple of these games. Like, they're probably in a spot where they're going to lose by double digits to the Lions next week. Just a little food for thought. But I think at the end of the day, it doesn't matter with Baker Mayfield pulling these rabbits out of the hat. Like, I can't live in a world or imagine a world this year where now the 5-1 Buccaneers are going to finish, 9-8?
I can live in that world. And I also think
I can't.
I'm going to be honest with you. In December, they have games against the Falcons. They have 2 games against the Panthers.
Okay.
we're going to be looking back in December. And y'all can cut this up for a video clip. Y'all can post this in December. We're going to be looking back in December, and we're going to say one of those games in those division games is going to come down for the division. That's my hot take.
I don't have any reason to argue with that. But the point that JJ made is the one for me. It's actually 2 points, and I'm stepping on the show a little bit here. Everybody, if you're listening right now, don't wait. Get into the FanDuel Sportsbook right this second and go grab Detroit minus 5.5.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't mind you jumping in. It's fair game.
Yeah, it's all
fair
good.
Game, House.
Yeah,
Do it.
yeah, because it's not going to stay there. And it's going to jump over 7, I bet, when people really start paying attention. I see that. I bet that number goes north of 7. So please.
Well, House, I'm looking right now just for posterity here. I want to make sure at the moment, as we sit here on this lovely Monday, the Lions, wait for it, 5.5 at minus 105.
Go. Don't wait. Go. You can hit pause on your recorder right this second. And
That's all right. You can still listen and get on the FanDuel app.
Back.
I mean, listen, multitask, House. We're all multitask kings. But why
I do
are you
think,
still bullish on Tampa?
Because of the point that you just made, like the early down success. Wait till Bucky Irving comes back. Wait till if when you see Godwin and Irving and Evans and Ibuka on the football field at the same time. Now that might not happen, right? I'm knocking on wood. I'm rooting for health for those guys, but that's a version of this Tampa team that to me is formidable. That's the reason that they're minus 500 to win the division. And so to Dream's point, if you're going to play a lottery ticket, I definitely understand the inclination. It's a bet on this Tampa team not getting restored to health offensively. That's what this bet is about. And that's just the unknown right now.
Can I jump one more time? I know you just gave
go ahead, do your thing.
One. You mentioned Carolina. They're losing to the Jets on Sunday next week. Remember I said that.
Well, what's the number right now?
The Jets are minus 1.5 point favorites.
Oh, well, that's not going to last long. That's not going to last.
I don't know about that, House. I don't know about that. Carolina on the road has been a different team.
They are definitely.
We all agree. We're in agreement on that.
And it's the Jets. I understand. Like, I'm going to look like an absolute ass for suggesting the idea of betting them on Sunday.
Aaron Glenn is a disaster.
That's the problem.
I don't disagree with that.
That's
that end
the problem,
of the half
JJ.
is one of the worst end of the halves I've ever seen. But are you telling me the Jets going to win a game eventually here, fellas? Eventually. Right? Right?
Maybe.
I mean, right?
Maybe.
If they don't win this game, I don't know.
No, their next three are pretty soft. It's Carolina. I did it on the New York pod. I went through the schedule. It's Carolina at home, at the Bengals, who, by the way, will torch them because Flacco is going to pick apart that secondary if they give him time to throw, and they will give him time to throw. And then they play the Browns. Raheem, if they can't get one of those three, then we can start talking about 0-17, okay? Fair enough?
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Boys, before we get to these Monday night games, we do have to touch on what happened on Sunday Night Football. And Joe House, Raheem Palmer, we were all united in this one. It was one of my biggest bets on Sunday night. House, to your credit, it was your wise wager. I think the panic that set in the early going about the Kansas City Chiefs, a classic overreaction. They take on the Lions. I know the Lions have a ton of injuries on defense. Nobody cares. The Chiefs made a statement. The Chiefs were efficient. The offense looks different when Xavier Worthy is back in the fold. And Patrick Mahomes was doing Patrick Mahomes things. House, I'm glad that I'm invested in the Chiefs to win the division. And the Super Bowl bet that I made at the beginning of the year that I had some serious second thoughts about after week 2 feels like it's got a new lease on life, buddy boy.
Yeah, for sure. Just hang in there. The NFL season's a marathon, not a sprint. But this Chiefs team that we saw yesterday does look sustainable. Again, it always comes down to injuries for everything in the NFL. But that's 2 consecutive weeks of extremely high offensive efficiency, where this team now has put itself firmly inside the top 5 of the NFL on offensive EPA and success rate. And it's because it's your brain. I had this experience yesterday. It's like, I've seen this Chiefs team before. Look at the way that they have this organized approach to offense. The combination of these runs from the receiver position. You have a couple of tough runs up the middle to soften up the middle of the line. You have the 7-yard outs. It was a Travis Kelce throwback game. My man Wood was out there wooding it up. I mean, he took care of that business, JJ. And then you have the vertical threat that comes in with the speed that they have. I mean, it was kind of a quiet game out from Tyquan Thornton, but that's they have that in reserve. And wait till Rashee Rice comes back. So when you see that combination, that Chiefs combination, that unique thing where Patrick Mahomes is in his bag, and they're at tempo. You can see them. They have that a kind of tempo, a rhythm, that Kansas City offense. And we saw it in all its glory yesterday against Detroit. That's putting the league on notice as far as I'm concerned, Dream.
Yeah, I mean, last week against the Jaguars, they have a 64% success rate. This week against the Lions, you have a 57% success rate. And they get Rashee Rice back next week. So it's just, I don't know what you do to slow down this Chiefs team at this point in time. To me, they're clearly the best team in the AFC.
Totally agree. Totally agree, Raheem.
It's just not even a question.
Our friends in Buffalo aren't going to like that, but you know what? They could kick rocks because Raheem.
I mean, we're going to talk about Buffalo later on today, and I mean, there's going to be some people fading Buffalo. So
there might be two guys that are on this set right now that might be fading Buffalo. We call that a little bit of a tease in the podcast business. I'm right there with you as far as them being the best team in the AFC when they're right. But specifically when it comes to this division, I thought about this because watching the London game as we were doing the Ringer Sunday pregame, Denver's defense is tremendous. Bo Nix looks absolutely abominable. I mean, he was absolutely atrocious. I mean, all you need to know is we saw Mr. Simmons in his pajamas pop on the Ringer Sunday pregame. He had some choice words for Bo Nix. There's that. The Chargers were very fortunate to get away with a win against my hapless Miami Dolphins, and they can thank their lucky stars that Jalen Phillips doesn't know how to tackle, and the safety just whiffed on Wad McConkey and allowed a 40-yard play to go right down the field. Bad teams find ways to lose. Chargers are a good team. Okay, the odds to win the division. House, plus 135 for the Chiefs, plus 175 for the Chargers, who, remember, have the win against Kansas City from Brazil in week 1, and the Broncos are at plus 240. What do we make it at?
Plus 135 is one of the great prices you're ever going to get, I feel like, on the Chiefs. Again, I don't do this often. Hit pause on this podcast right this second. Hit pause on the video. You should have your sportsbook already open because you just fired on Detroit minus 5.5. Grab that Chiefs number right this second, plus 135 to win this division. Again, always there's injury risk, and that's what, that's the downside case here. But you can't solve. Denver to me is the second best team in this division, and they don't have an answer for this Bo Nix problem. He is who he is. I think we've seen enough games out of him. He does have in him the ability to do what he did against the Philadelphia Eagles. He made very good throws in the fourth quarter. They beat the Eagles by scoring 18 points in the fourth quarter in Philadelphia. That was impressive, and he was the crucial straw stirring that drink. But it's week to week with that homeboy, and you are looking at you're asking me to make a division bet. I'll just take the best team at plus 135. Let's go.
Yeah, and in a perfect world where everyone was healthy, I think the Chiefs would have a challenger. But right now they don't. The Chargers are banged up. It's that they almost lost to the Miami Dolphins yesterday. And then you look at the Broncos; they just don't have a quarterback. So the Chiefs are starting to get rolling, and I just think they're a wagon at this point in time. I don't think this is probably this is free money. Barring injury.
Free money. So I'm getting
outside of it, barring injury, this is probably free money.
Like the sound of that. Okay, boys. A lot of good stuff. We have two pretty entertaining Monday Night Football games, if you ask me. We'll start with the first game in Atlanta. The Buffalo Bills taking on the Atlanta Falcons. Buffalo just lost their first game of the year last Sunday against the Patriots. Atlanta has been a very good home team. They have not had the same success away from home. And this line has moved a little bit, Mr. Joe House. It was in the 4.5 range. It is now at 3.5, minus 115. Total at 49.5. We are aligned. make the case for why the Atlanta Falcons are going to win this game outright.
Yes. So let's proceed carefully out there, everybody. Let's just be nice and cautious about this. But here is the thesis for why Atlanta is live in this situation. It boils down to the run game. And the run game for Atlanta is a top 3 run game. They have a two-headed monster in Tyler Algier and Bijan Robinson. They've been very effective with it. And it's a very nice matchup for this Buffalo Bills defense, which is extremely vulnerable on outside runs. And if you look at the numbers of outside runs for Bijan and this Atlanta offense, they are very effective. This will be the best rush offense that this Bills defense will have faced. And the Bills have these bad numbers against offenses that are not very good, against rushing offenses that are not very good. For them to be where they are up against this Atlanta team. Now, look, this is a referendum game for Atlanta. Atlanta wants to be in this conversation that we just had about who's going to win that NFC South, who can be a contender, who can grab that throne from Tampa. This is your opportunity, Zach Robinson, Raheem Morris. This is it. You guys better show up and show out. You just had your bye week and you had the opportunity to plan for this Buffalo team. You watched the blueprint that the New England Patriots put forth on Sunday night. The Atlanta defense is better. How much better? We are going to find out. They spent a lot of money and energy on improving their defensive line. If they can get pressure on Josh Allen, again, at the very beginning of this, I said, let's be careful out there because Josh Allen indoors is a monster. But look, man, the way to beat that monster is to keep him off the football field. The way to keep him off the football field is to run the ball once, run the ball twice, and run the ball 2 more times. And if Atlanta can do that, then they're live. And that is why that number went from 4.5 down to 3.5, I believe, Dream.
I'm struggling with this one. I know there's a lot of sharps all on Atlanta, and I understand the sentiment. I truly do. But I said this yesterday on our Ringer NFL pregame show. I cannot bet this. And the reason why is because Atlanta has struggled in the red zone. They're 26 in red zone touchdown percentage. And if you're not going to score touchdowns, then you aren't going to cover and you're not going to win against Josh Allen in a dome. So that is the main thing that's keeping me off of this game. And then this number has dropped down. I know there's a lot of sharp money all on Atlanta, but I think at this point in time, you're getting closer to the point where there's more value on Buffalo than there is on Atlanta. So I'm going to stay off of this game. But if I had to recommend anything for this game as far as like props, but damn, I can't even do that because I was thinking Bijan Robinson on a touchdown, but that's minus 190. So there's no value there either. So I'm completely off of this game.
So I'm riding with you, Joe House. I took Atlanta at plus 4.5, and I know what the hesitation is going to be. Raheem just nailed it. You got one of, if not the best quarterback in football, who's been lights out playing in dome stadiums. Small favorite. And is Michael Penix going to be up for this moment? Like, that's a fair question and concern to have going in. Here's my pushback. One, I think Atlanta is going to be able to run the football incredibly well in this game. Not just with Bijan Robinson. I'm looking at Tyler Algier, who to me has really become a big part of their offense. And you see that two-headed monster rocking and rolling with Bijan, with Algier. I think that's going to be Atlanta's path to success here in this game. So I'm playing Algier, a couple of overs, 25 plus, 35 plus, kind of little escalators as far as the props are concerned. I like that side of things. And this Atlanta defense can get after the quarterback. That is another thing they are going to have to do. And they're going to have to do it very, very well. Now, 4.5, 3.5. I'll go with the market. I still think at 3 and a hook, Buffalo wins the game by 3. You go and cover the number. I threw in an SGP for this one, guys, which you may want to check out on the FanDuel Sportsbook. I gave it out on the Ringer Sunday pregame. I'll give it to you guys here on East Coast Bias. You're going to have to play it a little differently because the line has moved. But I gave you Cook anytime, Algier 25 plus rushing, Allen 25 plus rushing, and the Falcons at plus 4.5. I have that at a little under 6-1. That's not going to be the case now because the line has changed a little bit, but an SGP nonetheless. House, would you play them to win the game, or are you just taking the points?
Well, I did play them to win the game already. It's my man's best bet for the purposes of our Sunday Ringer expedition. But I think the better way to play it is to grab the number. And honestly, if I'm going to play your same game parlay, you can just go ahead and go all spread, grab a number that you're comfortable with. You don't have to lay the 3.5. I know for what you were doing, you had 4.5. I might push that up closer to a touchdown. The one prop that I absolutely adore, you mentioned this man's name, and it is part of our game script theory for why Atlanta can compete here. Get Algier over on rushing attempts. It's 7.5 rushing attempts. It's -114. I think that's a tremendous opportunity. They really have been looking to split touches, especially in the fourth quarter. If they are up or if it's close, Algier gets the tough rushing touches because Bijan is their explosive. So over 7.5 rush attempts for Tyler Algier.
We move on. There is another Monday Night Football game. It would involve Joe House's Washington Commanders laying points against a Chicago team that's feel much better about things. They smoked the Cowboys. They had a great win against the Raiders. They enjoyed their bye week. And now they get a Monday Night Football game. Raheem, I know the Commanders are not your team, but you have a pretty strong take on this particular game. Ain't that right, sir?
Yeah, I like the Commanders. I'm going to lay it with them. I think the quality in these two teams is night and day. This Bears team, they cannot stop the run. So that is one of the things that truly stands out to me. And I think, there's no, what's my guy's name? Wide receiver for the Commanders.
McLaurin.
Oh, yeah, Terry McLaurin.
There's no Terry McLaurin, but I think the mismatch in this game is the Washington rush offense versus the Bears rushing defense. I mean, you're talking about a rushing defense, which is you're talking 27th in rushing success rate, 23rd in rushing EPA per play. And that just opens anything up for Jayden Daniels. And look, Jayden Daniels he's on a different level. And I think this Bears team, really, who have they beat? They beat the Dallas Cowboys, who we know has one of the worst defenses in the league, and they beat the Raiders. And they struggled. They really only beat the Raiders because you had a block kick at the end. And then obviously Geno turned the ball over a ton. So I just think this is a different class for this Bears team, even coming off of bye. And I think this line should be closer to 7. So I'm laying it with the Commanders.
Ooh, okay, House. I'm with Raheem on this. I think Washington getting Jayden Daniels back, little Energizer Bunny, saw it against the Chargers last week. They got after the quarterback. They got to Justin Herbert. Daniels looked like Daniels, and I'm not ready to buy in quite yet that this Chicago team, after beating a Cowboy team, to Raheem's point, that plays zero defense, a Raider team that is absolute trash, is now all of a sudden ready to go into Washington and win this game on a Monday night. Line went from 4.5 to 5.5. I'm with you, Raheem Palmer. Commanders, I'm laying it as well. House, can we make it 3 for 3?
Oh, maybe. I'm nervous because, it's tough to forecast teams in a position like this Bears team where they're really kind of starting from scratch with their coaching unit, their institutional. They basically took last year's script, crumpled that thing up and put it right into the garbage can where it deserved to go. And we're seeing these glimpses of Caleb Williams getting the Ben Johnson concept. Now, it was in consecutive weeks against two of the worst defenses in the entire NFL in the form of Dallas and Vegas. One very important piece of information, it seems like Deebo Samuels is a go. He's expected to play. He's had a heel injury, but the expectation as we're taping this right now is that he's in. And that means for Washington, they have a multi-headed rush attack. Of course, it's my guy, Bill Merritt, and I've got a nice same-game parlay for Bill to go get the job done. But here's the thing that's concerning for the Bears, and I don't know if a bye week is enough for them to address it. They're in that bottom quartile, bottom 5 in rush metrics against teams that have garbage rush attacks. Like you can't be the only team that the Bears have confronted that has a genuinely viable rush attack is Detroit, and Detroit ran them the F off the football field. But the Minnesota Vikings, the Dallas Cowboys. Now Dallas has improved in the rush attack. I do appreciate Javonte Williams. But in Vegas, those teams, when they play Dallas and Vegas, those are not like formidable rush attacks. Washington is number one in many metrics across the board in terms of its rush attack with my man Bill. And, the way that Washington wants to win this game and the way that they'll cover that big number is controlling the football, keep the Bears defense on its heels, keep Caleb off the field. And, that's how you get to a touchdown win if you're Washington on this Monday night.
Now, as far as the total, Raheem, any interest? Props, any interest?
I actually like Deebo Samuel over 71.5 rushing and receiving yards. We know Terry McLaurin isn't playing. We know that the Bears can't stop the run. So I'm looking at them deploying Deebo Samuels in multiple situations. So I like him over 71.5 rushing plus receiving yards.
Okay, House, any props for you?
Yeah, I have a little parlay of my guy Bill Krosky Merritt. We are going to go ahead and do anytime touchdown for Bill and pair that up with him over 1.5 receptions. Because the thing with this Washington offense is they needed a solution for the Austin Eckler role, which was these short passes, these release passes, behind the line of scrimmage passes. Well, last week, Bill got this. I think he had 2 or 3 receptions last week. I think that's an element of this offense. It is another way to keep. They want to get the ball into his hands between 20 and 25 times, and the short passing approach is one of those ways. So that combination is plus 161 right now on the FanDuel Sportsbook. I'll put that on the Twitter box machine as well.
Boys, I'm looking at anytime touchdown. Deebo Samuel as an anytime touchdown. Plus money. Sign me up for that one right now. That is what I'm going to play at plus 125. I like the props a little bit more in the Atlanta-Buffalo game, but hey, winners are winners. That's the idea. So hopefully a whole lot of that for the boys in these 2 Monday night games. All right, quick break. Then any regrets? The mulligan coming up. The bets we can't wait to make for week 7. They're coming up. Anthony Dabbundo back from his wedding with 3 and out and a couple of ALCS and NLCS plays perhaps. Loaded. Rest of East Coast bias coming your way right here on the Ringer Gambling Show. All right, time for the mulligan. I'll start, guys. And in a way, I regret it. In a way, I don't. I guess I got to say it's the Saints for me. Because I grabbed them house plus 3.5. I thought it would be a letdown spot for the Patriots. It wasn't. It's not that the Saints played terribly in the game. It's not like they got their doors blown off. They had a couple of key turnovers. But I just didn't think you'd get that same level of execution from the Patriots after the win of all wins against the Buffalo Bills. So it's a limited one for me to choose from because I actually had a very, very good week again. So we want to keep those vibes going. I got to give you the game I lost, New Orleans. That would be my mulligan for week 6.
Yeah, I understand that. And that game was, I felt like a 50-50 game all the way down to the end. Kudos to the Patriots for pulling it out. I lost money on the Niners. I didn't expect Fred Warner to get hurt. I thought that was an inside a field goal kind of game, and the number at field goal or better felt like an opportunity. And I teased the Niners up. Those teaser legs lost also because at the end of the day they just couldn't do anything to stop the Bucs. So that would be the one. I guess I would want to do over, but I didn't expect Fred Warner to get hurt, so that's what happens.
Yeah, I think that Fred Warner injury drastically impacted that game. Like, I don't think Baker Mayfield has that scramble on 3rd and 14 if Fred Warner is out there. I think he makes that play, and then they were only down 1 at the time, and with them being down 1, I think the 49ers eventually take the lead. And then, there was a broken play at the end of the half where the Buccaneers were able to score a touchdown. I think just Fred Warner was the quarterback of that defense. So I want to say I regret that 49ers bet just because Baker has he's pulled a rabbit out of a hat every single game. I just think it was a bet that I would make again. And I truly would. So I don't have many regrets for, week 6. I thought week 6 was like a really good week. Especially like even some of the things that I called out, like the Steelers winning by 12.5. that happened. Actually, one of my bets was almost going to be, I did give out the Patriots yesterday, but I was almost going to sell points with the Patriots just because I do feel like the Patriots are kind of on, they're reaching that next level. Next week is actually the test because they're laying 6.5 on the road to the Titans and
Playing the crummy Titans. Is it a test, though?
But
I think it's a motivational test.
I say it's a test in the sense that now the market has caught on to how good this Patriots team is.
Well, how bad the Titans are.
How bad the Titans are. But, 6.5 in a row, you're basically saying this team should be laying 10 at home. And obviously it is a revenge spot for Mike Vrabel. So they'll want to lay the smack.
Oh, yeah, you're right about that. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Vrabel hates the Titans.
Alt spread.
Do not be surprised if Vrabel looks to go and embarrass them and embarrass the rookie quarterback. So, yeah, that game has a little alt spread potential written all over it. That actually is a good transition, Raheem. Week 7, we have already given out a few that we like. The bet you can't wait to make for week 7 that maybe you've already made. What is it?
Oh, it was 3 this morning. I like the Seattle Seahawks -3. That's going to 3.5. So that's painful. And then I also like the under 41 in that same game. That's going to 40.5. So
Dabbundo's already all over it. Texan under. Come on, man. He's already all over it.
I'm a little frustrated that those two have moved. I still like Seattle. I'm looking for a way to play Seattle. I think Seattle is the much better team than the Houston Texans at this point in time. So that's one I want to get involved with.
House.
Yeah, it's just Detroit at this point. That's the only one that I've fired on. I feel strongly about it. I think the best number is 5.5, and you want to grab it now.
Okay. Couple interesting ones from me. I want to get your guys' take on this. I know the travel spot is awful. Isn't this such a great week to take the Broncos laying a touchdown against the Giants? The Giants beat the Eagles. Everybody's got dart scatterboo fever. They're going to move the ball against this Bronco defense, House. I don't think we should ignore the fact that, hey, Jalen Carter did not play for Philadelphia. The Eagles have not had a whole lot of success. I understand coming back from London, now going to Denver is not ideal, and the Giants do have a little extra time to prepare. I kind of think the Broncos are going to lay the smackdown. I haven't bet it yet, but that's a line to me that stood out. Denver by a touchdown. That to me should be teased and parlayed with everything.
I don't have the numbers handy. I'm going to talk long so that Dream can pull this up. I don't trust the Broncos under any circumstances.
Okay.
F no. What have we seen from Denver that suggests that they're capable of winning by margin? That's not who this team is. And you just mentioned the situationally Denver coming back from their international game and the Giants with extra rest. The one thing we know the Giants can do is pressure the quarterback. I'm not laying a touchdown with that bum-ass Bo Nix. With him under pressure, him under disruption, he stinks under pressure. We just watched it against the New York Jets. The Jets pressured his ass, and he's a bum. They had barely any rush passing yards in the second half, Denver. So I'm not laying a touchdown with Denver under any circumstances. I understand the over enthusiasm for the Giants thing, but 7 points is crazy to me.
Yeah, you're looking at their offensive success rate. Their 27 offensive success rate, 41%. So it's like you're asking. This is a struggle for me because my model actually makes this Denver minus 8.8. So
I just think the Giants are going to have such a hard time moving the ball.
Yeah, so
Scatterboo is not running on this Bronco defense, and this is a game where I think Jackson Dart is just poised to look like a rookie. I just hate the spot.
I think this might be, and there's no team totals up. I would love to see the team totals because this might be a Giants team total under.
Something to consider for later in the week, Raheem.
Yeah, I got to think this through.
The other one, though, House, we'll lockstep on this one. I love Detroit next week. The problem is I feel like everybody's going to love Detroit because of the injury report for the Buccaneers, and I know Detroit's got a ton of injuries, but awful loss, that team back at home. When they start revving up the engines, House, they're revving up the engines in a big way. That reeks of a Lion get-right game, doesn't it?
Absolutely, positively. Detroit at home is an absolute wagon. And, we'll see what the injury report for Detroit shows out in terms of the secondary, because the Chiefs were able to exploit some of that, and Tampa is built to exploit it. But man, all those injuries on the Tampa side, I'm just going to go ahead and grab the points now.
Boys, step aside. It's 3-and-out time, plus a little ALCS, NLCS mixed in. Our guy Anthony Dabbundo, who missed us on the Ringer Sunday pregame, was partying up, wedding, bougie, the booze. I hope he's recovered. We'll find out if he's recovered. Dabundo's up next. So we missed him last Sunday, or 24 hours ago, whatever the hell it was. Anthony Dabbundo joins us, 3-and-out, a little baseball mixed in. First things first, you had a Syracuse buddy's wedding. Are you in one piece?
Yeah, I was going to say, the way you said it in the first segment made it seem like I got married, which I
No. I was going to say, to be honest, and I love you, and when you do get married, I expect to be there. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm inviting myself to your wedding, but that's what I just did.
That's fine. Yeah, no, it was a great time. Great time up in Boston. There's Drake May fever. I was the only person at the bar not rooting for the Patriots, and 3.5 did not get home for the Saints, but excited to be back. And the reality is, I told Jack Wilson I took my bye week because the Texans took their bye week, so I had nothing to talk about.
How convenient!
Oh wow!
And already you moved the market on the Monday Night Total that Raheem just mentioned, because it did drop a little bit.
Well, when Joe House said to pause your recording and go put a bet in at FanDuel, I went in and put a bet in at FanDuel, but it was not a Texan under. It was Seattle -3.
Look at you.
Which they've all been taken out, but I think that's a little bit short for week 7. Can you believe we're already in week 7?
No, I can't.
Yes.
And listen, I got to give you the Dabbundo credit on Seattle, because you like them a lot going into the year. You're not going to get the victory with the Raiders in the AFC West. I think you are going to
Not yet.
Forget about that.
Come on.
Please, stop it. Stop it. Just take the credit I'm about to give you with the Seahawks. The decision they made to say sayonara to Geno Smith and to bring in Sam Darnold did not get a whole lot of fanfare, did not get a whole lot of love in the offseason. Dabbundo, Sam Darnold's playing out of his freaking mind.
He's a better fit for what Kubiak has wanted to do with this offense. And the play action stuff has been especially impressive for Seattle. They've been able to hit so many downfield explosives. And look, it might have worked with Geno, but it's clear that there was something going on there behind the scenes with the Geno McDonald thing. And one of the things with Mike McDonald that has been clear as he's tried to set a new culture in that organization is he is trying to distance himself from, as much as possible, from the past generation of Seattle football. He wants to build his own thing, and a lot of that is trading DK Metcalf, who was a leftover from the past, trading Geno Smith, who was the quarterback that kind of rejuvenated this little Seattle run here, and it ended up being a great decision so far. I mean, they are one of the best 4-2 DVOA teams of all time. And Aaron Schatz had a tweet about this yesterday. There is some noise in that because, there was that weird Saints game with the special teams. But if you look at this team, offensively and defensively, I said before the season, there's only one team that I think had a chance to be top 5 in both offense and defense. And I said it was Green Bay. Seattle, if they're able to get healthy on the back end here, do I think they can be a top 5 offense all year? That I would be a little skeptical of. But they're right in the mix to win this division. I agree with what you guys said earlier about them being very live to win the West, especially with San Francisco, which I'm about to get into.
Okay, now it's time for you to shine. 3-and-out, point 1. I don't know if it was already brought up, but now you can bring something to the table. It's go time. Let's hear.
I was going through FanDuel this morning, and I want to pose this hypothetical to you. I give you $100.
Okay.
And you're allowed to make one of 2 bets. They are the same odds. The Kansas City Chiefs are 7-1 to win the Super Bowl. The alternative bet is Kansas City is 7-1 to be the number 1 seed in the AFC playoffs. Which bet would you make?
Super Bowl. Super Bowl. I'm jumping in immediately, guys, because they've owned Buffalo in any big game that matters in January. They have not owned Buffalo in the regular season, where Josh Allen has actually beaten him the last couple of years. And I'm sorry, the Bills' schedule still has a bunch of cupcakes on it, including another game against the Dolphins, including another game against the Jets. Buffalo is going to get their wins. So to me, Kansas City with 2 games with Denver, another game with the Chargers, still like a tougher primetime schedule, the whole deal. Dabbundo, get me into the playoffs with that team, and I'm cooking. So I'd rather take the Super Bowl bet. Boys, what about you?
I agree with what you're doing, JJ, because I think in terms of losses and this 1 seed in the AFC, the Chiefs can really only lose one more game when you sit down and go through the Buffalo schedule. Now, again, always caveat with the health thing, but Buffalo, I don't see 5 losses for Buffalo. And, the Chiefs, it's week in, week out with them. So I like the Super Bowl ticket better, to be honest with you.
I'm looking at Buffalo's schedule. If they don't lose tonight, yeah, I think you got to go with the Super Bowl one. I definitely think that.
Do you agree with that, Dabbundo, since you posed the question
It's
to
a
us?
trick question since I put $50 on both this morning.
Okay, fair enough. Listen,
So-
I'm not gonna fight you out of the 1 seed because you're getting
No,
really
I
good
was just
value
looking
on it.
through
I think if you're asking me which one I'd prefer the Super Bowl bet.
Right. And obviously, there's one big high leverage game coming up in a couple weeks here. At the beginning of November, the Chiefs play the Bills in Orchard Park. And the Chiefs also host the Colts in November, which I can't believe we're having that conversation.
Wow, can you believe that's actually a highly scrutinized, highly pressurized, top-notch game for your boys? How about that, buddy boy?
They're the number 1 offense in the NFL.
Indiana Jones, baby.
They are 5-1 to their team total over this year. The only game they didn't go over was an AD Mitchell sabotage against the Rams. Yeah. So when I look at the schedule, though, so the Chiefs get Buffalo and Indy. If we kind of like Atlanta tonight, JJ, then 1 seed at 7-1 is a good bet to get in now.
Listen, not going to talk
Because
you
if
out of
Buffalo
it.
loses tonight, which they could, they might not. This guy could look really dumb when people listen to this tomorrow morning, if people listen to it tomorrow morning. But if they lose tonight, Kansas City has the door wide open for them to make this run here because they would be sitting on 3 losses. Buffalo would be on 2, and they play each other head to head. They also play Indy, so they beat them, and all of a sudden they're the driver's seat. But I think they're not out of the race for it yet. And it all gets back to this offense, and not just the success rate, because we saw them have high success rates last year. It was like, wow, they're like first in success rate and 29th in big plays. But now they're hitting the chunks. And it doesn't have to be like the deep bomb. They don't need Mahomes to be the same deep ball passer because he really hasn't been even this year. But they just need to be able to hit the intermediate stuff, that
The
10
20
to 20,
25 yard.
Yeah, the 10 to 20 range where he was so accurate. And really, that's the sign of a really strong and healthy offense, that you're not relying on just deep bombs or just underneath stuff. You're able to hit those intermediate chunk plays. It's an area where the Colts have really excelled. So yeah, I think KC continues to be a buy, and I'm still kicking myself that game didn't go over last night.
Fair
That's a
enough.
side note. Yeah.
Okay, 1 down, 2 to go. Take 2.
Take 2 is the Niners defense. I mean, I don't think it even matters that much that Fred Warner got hurt. They were dead 2 weeks ago when Bosa went down. They have now reached the point where they are no longer able to generate any pressure at all. And you can drop off a cliff here. So Nick Bosa played the first 3 games of the season. And I talked about this, I think, a week or 2 ago. But 41% pressure rate week 1, 39 in week 2, 37 in week 3. In the 3 games that he has not played, 16%, 27%, 24%. The last 3 weeks, they are dead last, with the Carolina Panthers and the New York Jets right above them in pressure rate. They're not able to get to the quarterback. And this secondary is not that good. It's a fine secondary, but it's not a great secondary. And if you go the last 2 weeks here, whenever the Rams needed 15 yards in that Thursday night game, they got 15 yards. The Rams, they shit the bed for other reasons, but they were able to move the ball with ease. And really yesterday, whenever Tampa needed 15 yards, they got 15 yards. And maybe it was Baker doing a crazy scramble, or it was just a deep in to Egbuka or to Sterling Shepard or to Tez Johnson. But they were able to move the ball at will. And I don't think this Niners defense is fixable. I think you guys are on the right track by saying with this defense and with the offense being good but not elite, it's hard to draw a path for them winning this division.
You know what? I didn't even mention this earlier, but the Niners right now are minus 355 to make the postseason and plus 270 to miss the postseason. And you kind of can just jump on the Niners to miss it. I think that would be a good ticket. We know the history of the 49ers. Either they make the NFC Championship or they just implode with injuries and just don't make the playoffs at all. I mean, that's been the case since 1998.
Are you surprised that number is as high as it is, Dabbundo?
Well, there still is the schedule. They do have Carolina, Cleveland, Tennessee. At
This
Giants.
schedule is so soft, guys.
It's not that soft, though. I mean,
they're
still going to play the Rams again. They also have the main thing that the Niners have going for them is the tiebreaker stuff, right? They're already 3-0 in the division.
Huge. And they got games with the Browns, the Titans, the Giants. They're going to be favored against Atlanta. That's why they're going to be favored in a bunch of these games still.
But the thing is that they've been outplayed their last three. Like if you look at advanced box scores, I know they beat the Rams, but if you look at advanced box scores of the last three games, they've been like pretty consistently outplayed. I know Mac Jones is thrown for 350, but they can't run the ball. The secondary is a mess.
They just got their first rushing touchdown on Sunday.
I think they're getting to 10 wins still. I don't think they're a threat house to do anything in the playoffs. I think that schedule with 4 wins, they might add a guy or two at the deadline. They're not going to be Nick Bosa. I understand that, Dabbundo. I kind of think the Niners.
If you're the Niners, though, are you pushing chips in? Like, are you really making a big move this year?
They have so many veteran players, dude.
Without Warner and Bosa for the rest of the year, though,
I just can't see them abandoning ship. You know what I mean?
Right.
I get it.
But I'm not saying they abandon ship, but they're not going to like Trey Hendrickson is the big piece, right?
No,
I was talking to somebody about this morning. The Colts are the team that should trade for Trey Hendrickson. There's a lot of teams that should trade for Trey Hendrickson, but like if you're a Niners type, or even if you're like Baltimore, obviously that Hendrickson would never get traded to Baltimore, but is this the year where you would want to make a big move and give up draft capital for a difference-making player when your two most important defensive players are not coming back?
With the amount of age they have on that team, Dabbundo, they may have no choice because they have a lot of age on that team. So there might be a sense of desperation within that front office, that head coach. Hey, listen, we're not getting any younger. Despite the situation we may be in, we're not getting any younger. Okay, so you're out on the Niners, and listen, justifiably so. 2 down, 1 to go.
Yeah, so the third thing is, what do we do with the Chicago Bears? Because I think they're a really interesting team right now because we don't like their defense. And I think their defense is still injured and not very good. Kyler Gordon's back, but not very good. Do we buy at all that, look, the first month of the season, there were some highs, there were some lows, but now they get the bye week to hit the reset button. And if you look at this Bears offense, the one thing they're doing a very good job of now that they were never doing last year when Caleb was a rookie, the sack rate is been cut in half. The problem with Caleb last year is he'd taken way too many sacks. And do you guys buy the idea that through this bye week, with some extra time to prepare, with some more time to work on iron out some wrinkles, that this offense could take a second half leap? Because I'm trying to figure out who's the team that isn't very good there's always a team that isn't very good right now. Metrically, they're just okay, but maybe they can make a run at something. Maybe something can really come together for an offense in the second half. And I look around the league, and I don't think that answer is very obvious. There's not any team that jumps out to me. But the one team that I think potentially could be that would be the Bears.
Interesting. I don't like them in this spot, Dabbundo, against Washington. I think Daniels coming back injected a whole lot of life into that team. We saw it against the Chargers. They got after the quarterback. I know the Charger offensive line is brutal, but the Commanders got home jailhouse. I can't say the same about the Miami Dolphins. They had a whole lot of pressures. They didn't get home to Justin Herbert at the end of the game when they needed to. I don't like this spot for the Bears at all. So I'm not willing to invest. I need to see a lot more, and I like the Commanders on Monday night, as does Raheem Palmer.
Yeah, I guess my instinct, and maybe this is a little square, they lost the 2 games already on their schedule that had teams with good pass rush. And when I look at what they have left on their schedule, there's still 6 or 7 games of teams, including both of the Green Bay games. They still have Detroit again. They still have Minnesota again. They have the Giants, and whatever you want to think about the Giants. So all of those teams' ability to disrupt with front 4 pressure, that's the thing that makes it still like a sort of open question mark to me, AD.
Yeah. I mean, like the problem ultimately is, do you trust this defense to get any stops
No.
given the injury situation, how bad they've been overall? Dennis Allen, a coordinator hire I liked, has not really gone particularly well so far. It's why I bet the team total tonight. Bears team total over.
Over 22 and a half.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they're going to be forced to. So, like, the thing is, they can't run it. So, when they're in these games, they try to run, they lose, and it doesn't work. But if they get into a spot where they fall behind, which I think is pretty likely tonight, and they have to throw, I think the Washington secondary stinks. They're still injured. They give up a ton of big plays. And Caleb, like, when he's gotten into the hurry up, into kind of like the instinctual stuff, I actually think he's been pretty good this year. It just, there hasn't been week to week consistency. So maybe we get a good opening script because they've been good on the script. We get to 7. We get one late backdoor touchdown. Can we find like 10 points in between to get to 24? I think we can. So that's what I bet tonight. Bears team total over.
All right, so you're not playing either side in either of these two games.
Oh, no, I have Atlanta too.
Oh, you're on Atlanta.
I have Atlanta 4.5. Ringer 107. Me and Sal have a 1-3. Tough week. For some reason, I let Sal convince me that it was okay to take Baltimore and Cooper Rush, which looked good for.
They were
half.
live for
a
that
quarter and a
back
half,
door.
it looked good.
They
Yeah.
definitely were live. I mean,
For a
that
backdoor.
game really came down to the fourth down. I mean, to the goal line stop.
Yes.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry not scoring a touchdown.
Yeah. So, I mean, they were right there, but tough week. I mean, we had the Saints. We also had, who do we have? Carolina? Seattle? Yeah. So, not a great week for the boys. We're really struggling this year. It's been a tough up and down. And the 2 bets I gave out last week, by the way.
we're all actively making each other worse.
You think so? Too much?
It's too many cooks in the kitchen, because it's like if you pick 5 games on your own, you're going to have your own natural variance. But if you're putting,
I don't know. I've been picking 5 games on my own all year. I got a roughly similar record to the handicap hosts.
no, but it's like I mean, at least for our group, it's like it'll be a game like San Francisco. JJ wanted the Bucks. So it's like if he had did it on his own, he doesn't have the Bucks. I mean, he doesn't have the 49ers. So it's like I feel like it's a too many cooks in the kitchen situation.
Yeah, but I like the camaraderie, the teamwork.
I mean, I enjoy it too, but I'm just saying, bro, I know that we're messing up each other's records. Just
Listen, right now, we're not messing anything up, Raheem, because we're winning the competition.
Oh, yeah, we are
if it
winning
ain't
the
broke,
competition.
Don't fix it. Let's just continue to
Yeah.
have cooks in the kitchen that are cooking. So we are
Yeah.
we are cooking okay for now. It's good enough for now. The meal is adequate for now. When we have to adjust the recipe, we will adjust the recipe. Dabbundo, looking ahead. Any bets you have made now for the Week 7 card? When I will see you, by the way, Sunday in Los Angeles.
That's right. I forgot.
We won't have a
doing that.
Dolphin Colt game to watch, but I will have a Charger Colt game to watch.
You know, I thought about going over to SoFi.
You know, it's funny you say that. Do I go to Game 5 Saturday for Dodgers Brewers? I will be in by then. Do I go?
Oh wow.
House, I
I mean,
just feel
tickets.
like
Dodgers tickets are not expensive.
as I'm saying, House, the problem is going to Dodger Stadium from where I'm staying sounds like a horror.
Well, it is the National League Championship Series. It is the winner.
I know, but I could watch it.
I
I could watch it the Shellback Tavern and throw a few down before the show.
You
on
You know what? I
Saturday.
might
That's the
go
answer.
because there's no. I mean, like while we're out there, there's no Laker game. Like there's no. I mean, because last year I went to the Laker opener.
Oh, the Lakers are at home Tuesday?
No, but the thing is, we're going a week before the NBA season. Where last year
No,
we actually
No, NBA starts
NBA
next
starts
Tuesday.
Thursday.
Yeah.
Next Tuesday.
Oh,
it
is it
starts the
Tuesday? Oh, it's Thursday.
21st.
You'll be able to see the Lakers if you want on Tuesday. I'm not. I have
One
noticed
of them,
that.
Lakers or
That
Clippers?
price will be so overjuiced. And it's game 1 of the season. So for me,
Yeah,
it's-
I went to Bronny's first game last year.
Yeah, Bronny.
Lakers
Come on,
open with the Warriors next Tuesday, Raheem.
Oh
if you wanna
shoot,
go
I'm
to
there.
that. Yeah, you
Yeah,
will
at
go.
Staples or Crypto.
There's your
whatever.
answer.
I'm
There's
going.
your answer.
Like
That's I mean,
forget
Steph,
baseball.
LeBron
I'm
opening
going to
night is pretty
basketball.
good.
Like I'm in there. So
there you
I'm
go.
in it to win it.
So you got to. We'll talk, Raheem, about Game 5 of the Brewers Dodgers series. Maybe that will be.
Yeah, I don't land until like 7, so I will not.
You're
That's
out.
on a Sunday though.
No. I would never
Saturday.
go on it's a Saturday night, 5 o'clock.
I'm flying in late.
All right, you're out. I
Yeah.
might be going solo. Anyway, Dabbundo, Week 7. Give me a play.
Well, I mean, we just talked about this defense being a sieve. How is the Atlanta San Francisco total 45.5? I don't like either defense particularly much. I know Atlanta's defense grades out pretty well metrically, but some of this is that I also have over tonight in that first game. So if I like over there, and I think the Niners defense is cooked, and I think the Atlanta offense will have a good showing tonight, then the line will probably move up. So over 45.5 Atlanta against San Francisco. Niners over got there yesterday barely. Somehow we almost had no points in the fourth quarter, but that one, the Giants were interesting to me at 7 because they can run the ball, shorten the game. Denver not able to get margin on people because their offense is so inconsistent. Seattle, if he gets back to 3, I like them. Not as many immediate ones jumped out than I did my first pass through, but I also might still be hungover, so I need to clear my mind for the afternoon and dive back in again later.
Fair enough. Okay, and you'll have plenty of chances to do so over the course of the week. Before we give out best bets and say goodbye, Dabbundo, we have an NLCS Game 1 with the Dodgers and the Brewers. Dodgers at -150. The Blue Jays, despite the fact that Seattle played that crazy game on Friday that Raheem was up for, I had Seattle on Friday. I was all in on it. I couldn't get enough. I wanted the game to go 20 innings. I was pounding beers as the game was going on. I said, well, have another. We'll have another. We'll have another. It was great. That said, I was like, oh, Seattle's going to be cooked in Game 1. They won.
Oh, contrary.
So much. Yeah, I know. I get what I deserve. I was like, oh, I got -130. I got the best of the number. It went to 160. Didn't matter. Seattle won outright. Give me a takeaway here. 2 games on Monday. Series as a whole. How are we feeling about Seattle, Toronto, and Dodgers, Brewers?
Yeah, I said last week I feel like we already watched the World Series, and my Phillies lost it in 4 games to the Dodgers. I don't know if anyone else has the starting pitcher quality to keep down this Dodgers lineup like the Phillies did. Ohtani, his at-bats in the DS were so bad. And you have to wonder, like, they just spammed lefties at him the whole series. Milwaukee is not really capable of doing that. That's a concern for me. And when you look at the Dodgers starters, to me, Snell, Glasnow, and Ohtani are just peaking right now as starters. Their command is good. They just dominated a good Philadelphia lineup. I love Milwaukee as a story, as a team. I think they can make this a series, win a game or 2. But it would really surprise me if we're not looking at a Dodgers World Series. So I think, what's Dodgers -1.5 games?
I'll pull that up right now. For what it's worth, fellas, I like Milwaukee in Game 1 here. I do.
Priester?
Yeah.
I don't like Priester against this lineup at all.
But you're going to see him. They can go bullpen. They can match up and go with the bullpen, Dabbundo.
But the bullpen's not rested either, though. Like, they just burned everybody last 2 days ago.
But we saw with Seattle, fresh, played a game on Saturday, kind of in routine. Dodgers haven't played since. Like, to me, if you're Milwaukee and you want to make this a series, this is a game you have to have. Have to have Game 1, in my opinion.
Yeah. What's
and the series
7.5?
-1.5 games for the Dodgers is at -112. Even money.
Yep. I'll be on that.
I don't hate it. I just like the Brewers in Game 1. I'm going to grab the plus money with the Brewers in Game 1. Toronto, all of a sudden that series, Toronto, Raheem, they're +186 now to win the series.
I don't think they're going to win the series. I don't think they're going to win today. I like Seattle today.
Seattle 10-1 American League, JJ. We're 3 wins away.
I know. And you were sweating like crazy in that Detroit series.
Like
Gilbert,
crazy.
You Savage, who was Tommy John. He was the Tommy John. He was Nolan Ryan, Bob Gibson, and Roger Clemens reincarnated against the Yankees. Total in that game 7.5. You like Seattle, Raheem, at +112, huh?
Yeah, I do.
See, I'm staying away from that game. I like the Brewers at +128. So I'm playing the baseball that way. All right, boys.
Let me see. What's the total? 7.5?
7.5. Both games are 7.5.
Yeah, it's a smidge. -110. I wouldn't mind an under 7.5 in the day game. I have to look a little bit into Toronto. I don't think the Shadows are as bad there, but those 5 o'clock starts, are they going to
close the roof?
No, opening roof. I saw
open
that.
Roof.
Open roof.
So you do start to wonder about the Shadows around 5 o'clock, and I have to look more into that.
That reeks of like 3 innings max, though. Like the Shadows should be done by 6:30. No,
it could be four innings. The way that these games move in the first half of the of the game.
Fair. Okay. So you're looking maybe at an under. 1.5 games for the Dodgers. Like the sound of that. Absolutely like the sound of that. Okay. That's going to do it for this Monday East Coast bias. But before we say goodbye, parting thought. Best bet. Maybe it's for Thursday. Maybe it's for today. Maybe it's for Sunday. Joe House, I'll give you the 4. What do you got?
Got my guy Bill. We're going to ride with Bill tonight, Monday Night Football. Bill Krosky-Merritt in a little parlay here, plus 161 on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Anytime touchdown and over 1.5 total receptions.
Like it. Raheem, best bet.
On Seattle Mariners, plus 112 on FanDuel Sportsbook. Washington Commanders will be my best bet, but it did move a tad bit. I'm not into giving out the worst of the number, but I think Seattle wins this game. They go up 2-0.
Dabbundo.
Bills 49.5. Let's go with team total. Chicago Bears over 22.5.
Monday Night Football was good to me last week. Hopefully it will be good to me again this week. Atlanta Falcons plus the 3 in the hook. Fading Josh Allen in a dome on Monday Night Football. What can go wrong? Well, we faded Mahomes last week on Monday Night Football, and that went very, very well. In addition, Milwaukee Brewers plus 132. It's not going to be easy peasy for the Dodgers. They're going to win in less than 7 games. But they're going to sweat a little bit, at least going into game 2. Let's take the Brewers at plus money. Brewers, Falcons, fading Josh Allen and the Dodgers. Screw you, Joe Public. That's going to do it for this East Coast bias. Joe House, Raheem Palmer, Anthony Dabbundo. John Jastremski signing off. All sorts of shows coming up on this feed throughout the course of the week. Raheem and I will be back on Thursday with Ariel Epstein. Try to stay in first place with those bodega locks. The boys are out. Be good, everybody.
Must be 21 or older and present in select states, or 18 or older and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. You must be 21 or older and present in select states. For Kansas, in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 or older and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG, 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut, or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 877-8-HOPE-NEW YORK or text HOPE New York in New York